Have you ever climbed into the back seat of a sports car and thought, who on earth is supposed to fit here? The seats look like they're designed for kids, or maybe a couple of grocery bags. It's one of those weird mysteries in car design. Why do some sports cars even bother having back seats if no human being can actually use them comfortably? Well, today, we're diving deep into the question. Why do some sports cars have useless rear seats? We'll uncover the surprising mix of design decisions, marketing psychology, and even a few clever loopholes that explain why some sports cars have what seem like completely useless rear seats. Let's get into it, right here, on History of Simple Things. Let's start with the obvious, appearance. When you see a sleek, powerful sports car that happens to have 4 seats instead of 2, it gives off this illusion of practicality. It says, hey, I'm fast and exciting, but I'm still a responsible choice. I can take the kids to school. Manufacturers know this. Many sports cars, especially grand tourers like the Porsche 911, Aston Martin DB11, or some models of the Mustang and Camaro, are marketed as 2+2. That means 2 front seats for the driver and passenger, plus 2 tiny rear seats for, well, whoever's brave enough to try. The idea isn't really to use those seats every day. It's more about perception. When a potential buyer is torn between a practical car and a fun one, those miniature back seats act as a psychological nudge. It's not just a toy, it's a usable car. Even if deep down, everyone knows those seats are better suited for a backpack than a person. This design choice actually has a long history. The term 2+2 first gained traction in the 1950s and 60s, during the golden age of sports cars. Back then, models like the Jaguar E-Type 2+2 and the Porsche 911 pioneered the idea that a car could be both sporty and civilized. Sports cars weren't just about racing. They were also status symbols for people who wanted to drive fast on weekdays but still carry a briefcase or a companion on weekends. So those tiny back seats became a hallmark of versatility. You could technically fit another person, but they'd have to be either a child, a gymnast, or very forgiving. Over time, the 2+2 layout stuck around. It became a defining trait of certain models, not because it made sense ergonomically, but because it became part of their identity. For example, the Porsche 911 has had back seats since the very beginning. Even though most owners rarely use them, removing them would change the car's character. It's almost tradition now. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Those useless rear seats sometimes exist for legal and financial reasons. In certain countries, cars are taxed differently depending on how many seats they have. In some places, a 2-seater might be classified as a sports vehicle, which comes with higher taxes or insurance premiums. But if you add 2 small seats in the back, voila, it becomes a passenger car. That small change can make a big difference in cost, both for the manufacturer and the buyer. For instance, in Japan and parts of Europe, regulations often favor cars that can carry more passengers. By squeezing in those token rear seats, automakers can categorize their vehicles more favorably for import duties, emissions tests, or insurance rates. So sometimes, those seats aren't there for people, they're there for paperwork. Another practical reason: extra storage. While you might not be able to sit comfortably in the back of a Nissan GT-R or a Porsche 911, you can definitely use that space to stash luggage, groceries, or even camera gear. Many owners treat the back seats as an extended trunk. It's actually quite handy. In cars where the actual trunk is small, like most mid-engine or rear-engine sports cars, those rear seats become an impromptu storage solution. And here's the funny thing. Manufacturers know this. They'll still upholster the seats with premium leather and add seat belts to make it look legitimate. But everyone silently agrees. They're basically shelves. There's also a bit of emotional manipulation going on. When someone buys a sports car, they're often justifying it to themselves or to someone else. Maybe it's the spouse who says, "You don't need a two-seater." Or maybe it's the buyer convincing themselves, "I can still take the kids to school if I have to." Manufacturers know this psychological tug-of-war very well. By adding those symbolic back seats, they make the car seem just a little more rational. It's a clever balancing act. They sell a dream of speed and performance, but wrapped in the comforting disguise of practicality. So, in a way, those back seats aren't just physical features, they're emotional ones. They're there to ease guilt, spark imagination, and make the purchase feel justifiable. Interestingly, the automotive world is slowly changing. With electric sports cars like the Porsche Taycan and Tesla Model S Plaid, designers have more flexibility because electric platforms free up interior space. These newer performance cars can actually fit people in the back, proving that rear seats don't always have to be useless. But even so, many traditional sports cars continue to stick with the cramped 2+2 layout, because at this point, it's more than just design, it's identity. So the next time you peek into the back of a Porsche or Mustang and wonder who could possibly fit back there, remember, it's not about who can, it's about who could. Because in the world of sports cars, those seats aren't there to be sat on. They're there to make the dream feel a little more reachable, the fantasy a bit more real. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.